Day 2 of testimony is now complete in the Karmelo Anthony murder trial, and today the jurors got to hear a lot more testimony about what happened before, during, and immediately after the fatal stabbing of Austin Metcalf. Court adjourned around 5 p.m. Central Time, and I was going through various media sources just to make sure I get as much consistent information as possible. So I'm going to be breaking this down to the best of my ability. I am a certified law nerd, bona fide non-attorney. This is not legal advice, just my interpretation of what I've read in media reports. So let's begin. The morning started with testimony from a Frisco firefighter who responded to Kuykendall Stadium after the stabbing. He testified about finding Austin Metcalf unresponsive. According to the testimony, he described Austin as gray, meaning his complexion appeared gray, with fixed and dilated pupils, no respirations, and no pulse. While that testimony was being given, it was reported that Austin's father put his head down and his mother wiped away tears. From there, prosecutors called Frisco police officer Eduardo Cortez, who was reportedly the first officer to make contact with Karmelo Anthony after the stabbing. Officer Cortez testified that when he arrived, he saw the crowd under the Memorial High School track tent and saw Anthony. He said he instructed Anthony to raise his hands, patted him down for weapons, and detained him in handcuffs. Cortez then testified that when he referred to Anthony as the alleged suspect, Anthony responded, "I'm not alleged, I did it." The officer also testified that after Anthony was placed in the squad car, Anthony asked whether Austin would be okay. Cortez said Anthony had a little blood on his left middle finger. Prosecutors also asked about whether weapons are allowed on school property, and Cortez testified that they are prohibited. Jurors were then shown body camera video of Anthony being detained. In that video, Anthony can reportedly be heard crying and saying, "I told him not to put his hands on me." On cross-examination, the defense focused on Anthony's behavior after police made contact with him. The officer agreed Anthony was not resisting, not struggling, and not continuing to run. So legally speaking, that testimony gives both sides something to work with. The next officer to testify was Officer Jacob Schultz. He testified that he found the knife allegedly used in the stabbing approximately 3 to 4 rows above the crime scene. Now remember, this was set in bleachers at the stadium, so we're talking about several rows above where the stabbing occurred. He also found Anthony's backpack and testified that he protected the evidence because of the rain. Jurors were shown a photo of the knife, which was described as appearing to be a folding knife with blood on it. They were also shown a photo of Anthony's backpack. Both the knife and the backpack have reportedly been entered into evidence by the prosecution. After that, prosecutors played body camera footage showing paramedics attempting to save Austin's life. Austin was reportedly seen in his athletic clothes lying on the ground and unresponsive, while students could be heard crying and screaming in the background. Austin's parents broke down while the video played, and Anthony reportedly watched the video along with the jurors. After lunch recess, testimony moved to the eyewitnesses. One Memorial High School track athlete testified that when he arrived, Anthony was already under the Memorial team tent in the bleachers. He said he and other Memorial athletes asked Anthony to leave multiple times. At first, according to this witness, it was not aggressive, but then tensions escalated. The witness testified that he remembered Anthony refusing to leave, Austin telling him he needed to leave, and Anthony responding, "Touch me and find out." The witness denied that anyone was ganging up on Anthony. He testified that Anthony was the one provoking the situation. He also testified that Austin leaned in to push Anthony and Anthony stabbed him. According to this witness, Anthony had his hand inside his backpack, but the students thought he was bluffing. The witness said they did not think Anthony would actually do anything because they lived in what they considered a safe community. On cross-examination, defense attorney Toby Shook focused on the actual physical movement right before the stabbing. The witness testified that Anthony was seated with his backpack in his lap and his hand inside it. He said Austin approached Anthony and pushed him with both hands on Anthony's shoulders. The witness then testified that Anthony pulled the knife from his backpack, pushed Austin back, and stabbed him in the chest. The same witness also described what happened immediately after the stabbing. He said Austin fell down the bleachers onto his back, then got up, lifted his shirt, saw blood on his chest, and said something along the lines of, "I think I got stabbed." Prosecutors asked the witness to describe the shove. The witness said he would not call it light, but he also would not call it hard. He described it as somewhere in between. This witness also testified that Austin's twin brother Hunter was not involved in that physical contact. That matters because the defense has argued that both Metcalf brothers confronted Anthony and that Anthony made a split-second decision out of fear. Another 16-year-old witness who was a wide receiver and also ran hurdles and the 400 in track testified that the day felt normal before the stabbing. He said there was nothing unusual going on and that the rain was not bad before the stabbing. He said what first caught his attention was seeing an unfamiliar athlete step into their team's space. He testified that Anthony walked up and sat under their tent. The witness said it was weird for athletes from other schools to come into their tent and that Austin asked Anthony why he was there. According to this witness, Austin asked Anthony multiple times to leave and Anthony did not. The witness also said Anthony stated multiple times that he had something in his bag. He testified that Austin seemed frustrated and just wanted Anthony out of the tent. Then, according to this witness, the situation escalated and Austin was stabbed. The witness said everyone started freaking out and that Austin kept repeating, "I got stabbed." He also said Hunter Metcalf was present throughout the incident and that no one saw this coming. When describing Anthony leaving the tent, the witness said it seemed odd and that he believed Anthony was trying to get away. This witness also said he did not believe the stabbing was self-defense and believed Anthony provoked it. Another 17-year-old Memorial High School student testified that when he arrived at the team tent, he was putting on his shorts and saw Austin and Anthony. He said Austin was asking Anthony who he was because no one really knew who he was. This witness testified that Anthony appeared to be trying to provoke Austin into touching him. He said Anthony was saying things like, "Touch me and see what happens." According to this witness, Austin told Anthony, "Dude, I'm not going to fight you at a track meet." He testified that Austin only touched Anthony on the shoulder. Then he heard Austin say he had been stabbed and saw Anthony run away. The witness said he believed Anthony provoked Austin and said the conversation between Anthony and Austin was short, less than 5 minutes. He also testified that Austin never held on to Anthony. This witness became emotional when talking about Austin, saying Austin was his team captain in football and had believed in him and pushed him to be great. A recent Frisco Liberty High School graduate also testified. She said her team's tent was about 5.5 feet from the memorial tent and that it had been raining on and off throughout the day. She said she heard commotion from the memorial tent and described it as people wanting a certain person to leave and that person refusing to go. She testified that she heard Anthony say, "If you wanted me to move, you'd have to move me." She also said Austin did not seem like he wanted to fight. After the stabbing, she said she heard Austin's brother trying to find help for him. She also said she felt some news coverage had been unfair and had taken a racial angle. She testified that she did not believe this case had anything to do with race and did not believe it was self-defense. The final student witness was another 17-year-old Frisco Memorial athlete and friend of Austin Metcalf. He said Anthony walked up and appeared to greet someone at first and that things were initially friendly before they started to heat up. According to this witness, Austin was basically telling Anthony that he could not be under the tent. He testified that he heard Anthony say, "Touch me and see what happens." This witness also said Anthony had a hand in his backpack, which he found unusual and concerning. He described seeing the vein in Anthony's arm, like Anthony was gripping something. He said Anthony told Austin not to touch him. Then Austin touched Anthony on the shoulder, kind of moving him, and Anthony stabbed him. The witness said Austin was a bigger guy, but had tried to be nice about it. He also testified that Anthony was not cooperating and not listening, and that Austin did not seem like he wanted to fight. Prosecutors asked whether Austin's contacts seemed aggressive. The witness said it was not aggressive in a way that would hurt Anthony. He said Austin was just trying to move him. This witness also testified that he did not believe it was self-defense and believed Karmelo Anthony murdered Austin Metcalf. One theme that came up repeatedly was the testimony that Anthony had his hand inside of his backpack, and I suspect that both sides are going to be paying very close attention to how that's landing with the jurors. The prosecution seems to be building a very specific timeline. Anthony was under a tent that was not his team's tent. He was asked repeatedly to leave. Multiple witnesses say that he refused. Multiple witnesses say that he made comments like "touch me and find out" or "touch me and see what happens." And then multiple witnesses say that Austin's physical contact was either a push, a shove, a grab, or an attempt to move him, but not a full fight or attack. Per the defense's timeline, Anthony was seated or positioned with his backpack. Austin did initiate physical contact first. Austin was bigger than Anthony. He asked him not to touch him or told him not to touch him. He became emotional after the stabbing, and once he was apprehended, he did comply. The jury has now heard from multiple witness statements that they did not perceive Austin as trying to fight Anthony. However, they did also hear testimony that confirmed that Austin was the one who put hands on Anthony first. The question for the jury, and ultimately anybody following this case, is whether that level of physical contact was enough to make deadly force legally justified. Now, the jury's going to be the ones that decide, obviously, at the end of the day. And according to several live updates I followed, jurors were instructed to return Saturday morning, so tomorrow, June 6th, for additional testimony. That's a little unusual, so I'll be keeping an eye on court reporting to confirm exactly what happens next. I'll catch you in the next one.